Hello and welcome to NIAGA Spotlight with me, Tamina Kaushi. NIAGA Spotlight takes us through the week in economic analysis and future affairs. Now this week on analysis, a very interesting topic indeed. We're diving deep into Agri-Tech and Malaysia's strategic pivot to food sovereignty. Now in Malaysia, did you know a surprisingly small portion of agricultural land is dedicated to food production? Approximately 1.2 million hectares only are used for food crops, while the majority is used for palm oil, 71.4%, and rubber, 11.9%. Now, additionally, state governments are being challenged by balancing lucrative developmental projects with continuing evictions of farmers as well as fisheries. So, in such an overall scenario, it's essential to pivot Malaysia's food sovereignty via Agri-Tech. The World Bank reports that the domestic agricultural sector grew by 7.2% in Q2 of 2024, fueled by the adoption of digital agriculture technologies or DATs such as GPS, drones and sensors. Now these innovations are pivotal in transforming the agro-food sector into a resilient and high-income industry, aligning with Malaysia's aspirations to achieve high-income nation status. Interestingly, the 5G rollout is emerging as a pivotal force in smart agriculture. Beyond improving connectivity, 5G facilitates real-time data collection, enabling precise soil analysis and optimized crop management. This technological leap not only boosts productivity, but also attracts a new generation of tech-savvy professionals to the agricultural sector. NIAGA Spotlight today has the absolute pleasure of featuring BoomGrow Productions Sundari and Berhad, a homegrown agri-tech startup at the forefront of this transformation. Joining me in the studios live now are Dr. Jay Desan, co-founder BoomGrow, as well as Norazizi Taslim, Executive Chef with St. Regis KL, joining me live in the studios for this discussion. A very good morning to the both of you. How are we doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, Tamina.
Fantastic. So really great to have you here in the studios with us. And we've actually got some very interesting cutaways, not the standard format for NIAGA Spotlight, but I am so excited to feature not just the work that you're doing, but the fruits of the labor of BoomGrow as well. So Dr. Jay, if we can get started with, tell me a little bit more about the type of agri-tech innovations which BoomGrow has been adapting and adopting to over the past few years, and this entire sector, and what's it looking like in 2025?
Thank you for having us. So, Tamina, in terms of agri-tech innovation itself, it needs to be seen as a larger basket of technology intervention. You see, technology has been embedded in industries like geolocation, communication, satellites everywhere. But in agriculture itself, it's still very early stages. In commodity agriculture, it's a little bit more successful in terms of introduction of drones and sensors. So we've seen some success there. But food production itself, I would say it's very early days in terms of technology intervention. And Malaysia positioning itself as a technology hub, food technology hub and agri-tech hub gives us lots of promise in terms of the growth of the sector. And the sector itself spans, high-tech vertical farms, greenhouses to plant-based meats and alternative protein, for example. So its vast opportunities are huge, but has been slow in terms of technology uptake.
Right.
And the issue is really urgent because of the impact of food production today, right? 60% of global biodiversity loss is affected by agriculture. 70% of global carbon emissions, actually 30% of GHG emissions come from the sector, including meat production. So this is a massive impact in terms of, the resources consumed by this sector. It needs a rethink. There is a huge chemical intensity in terms of how we grow food today. Absolutely. And that needs to change. So how BoomGrow is changing this narrative in our way. We are one part of that solution. It's a multi-pronged solution that's needed.
Sure, there are many steps in the journey, right? Which is why, of course, Chef Azizi is also with you. I'll get to you in just a minute. So speaking about what BoomGrow does and specializes in particular, it is fresh greens, leafy vegetables. Chef Azizi, tell us a little bit from, of course, from your many years of working and professional experience, how that has always been a little bit of a stumbling block when it comes to supply and, confirmation of supply.
Yeah, for me, it's very important to deliver a guest experience we have to enhance our guest experience.
Sure.
You know, this is where we often struggle with supply. Then with BoomGrow, we have to ensure we produce regardless of seasonality, or sometimes even we have challenge with weather. So with BoomGrow as a partner, we can maintain the product, especially we can maintain the product, and yeah, people are always seeking for luxurious, especially when it comes to St. Regis. So with BoomGrow as a partner and good quality product, we can deliver the expectation.
Absolutely. So we've got a couple of things to for the camps to focus on in just a bit, though. Dr. Jay, tell us more about the varieties of leafy greens that BoomGrow has decided to and has provided a consistent supply, not just for partners like St. Regis, but also for the average Malaysian consumer as well. How has that experience been?
Yeah, so our focus has always been hyper-local food production where consumers live and shop. That's been the founding mission of the company. And number two, how can we grow 100% pesticide greens? Yeah, because of the chemical intensity in which how produce is currently grown. So that got us to really rethink the technology and how we are integrating technology. So we grow in modular containerized shipping containers, right? And controlling inputs, water, light, humidity, ensures maximization of outputs. And productivity, trust and traceability is what we bring to the market. So we are able to grow multiple different types of leafy greens, microgreens, herbs, as well as mushrooms, and this really adds a dimension in terms of Chef Azizi or a consumer in downtown Kuala Lumpur that used to, if you get this produce, the food miles were massive, right? You're getting it.
That's right. And honestly, it's just leafy greens. So why couldn't it be done here before? Now it can.
That's the focus. That's always been the focus and continues to be the focus.
Fantastic. Chef Azizi, could I ask you to tell me a little bit more about, of course, the live salad box that we were focusing on just now?
Yeah, as you can see, we have a live salad box. You know, one thing good about this live salad box, especially from BoomGrow, they are zero waste.
Right.
Whatever you see here, we can utilize 100% all this salad leaf. And yes, this is giving us opportunity to be creative, especially when now they are producing our local ulam, like ulam raja. So this can give us space, or even we can be innovative and creative by using our local, our homegrown ulam, like ulam raja. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it gives you like an option between not only the westernized, more salad greens, microgreens, edible flowers, but also incorporating hyperlocalism.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I love the idea of that. Dr. Jay, going and digging a little bit deeper into AgriTech. So from your experience, how has the adoption and acceptance level been for the products and the leafy greens which BoomGrow is able to place on the market from the average consumer?
So for the average consumer, the questions are really accessibility. Can I get this produce at a price that is consistent, at a price that is affordable? So access to quality, healthy greens. We must remember, Tamina, it's very important, and it's a little bit less on the conversation. Malaysians are fanatical about their food.
Yes, we are. We love it. Morning, noon, night.
Yeah, but we ask less in terms of the questions, where is this food coming from? Not just in terms of food miles, but the nutritional value of that produce, right? And because of the green revolution in the 60s, as globally we are able to grow food today that meets calorific needs, but less on nutritional needs. So that's an important question. And I think the average consumer today is becoming really more aware in terms of food and nutrition, health and wellness. And this is something we're definitely plugging in, not just because we're 100% pesticide-free, but it's delivered at the height of freshness, and that means nutritionally it's so much more dense as well. You don't lose that nutritional value in the food. When food travels, it loses its nutritional value. These are questions that really are very important to all consumers today, and that is something agri-technology can address because we have the technology to integrate to really today grow food at source, where the consumers live and shop.
Absolutely. Thank you so much also for, bringing it back into sharp focus, because usually when we speak about hyperlocal, we're generally thinking of in terms of benefits for the small-term producers. We're thinking in terms of, the local ecosystem for business, but nutritional value, that's really key. So let's move on into there by you telling us a little bit more about the type of technology which is deployed at BoomGrow's vertical farms. Tell us more.
So we grow in what we call machine farms, containerized growing modules, essentially, controlling inputs. So when we can control inputs, the water, light, and humidity, we maximize our outputs. And when we have scale, we then are able to deliver 100% on our promise. Chef Azizi wants traceability, transparency. This is what technology has enabled us to do today and it took us many years to refine this. So one message I have with AgriTech, or where in other areas of technology integration, it's very quick. But we are dealing with natural capital. Right. And the argument I make with natural capital, it takes time for us to R&D and experiment, because we are really looking at a biological item and introducing technology to help us to grow better, fresher. The impacts are massive, because as we understand today, plants are amazing things, in terms, as we understand further in terms of gut microbiome and how much we need more produce. So technology is enabling us to plug into all these areas more effectively in a more high impact manner.
Absolutely. And I think it's so interesting that what BoomGrow is doing is actually, not only is it trial and error, but at the moment it's actually a refinement of all those learnings that came over the years. I'll get back to you in just a minute about where the sector is directed towards. But Chef Azizi, I wanted to bring the focus back to, looking at how much Malaysia actually spends. We import approximately 1 billion ringgit worth of leafy vegetables annually. So tell us a little bit more about how consumers and their demand is evolving over the last few years. Have you noticed a difference as compared to maybe even 5 years ago and now in 2025?
This is, again, as I mentioned before, we often struggle with a supply, regardless of seasonality or weather condition. So having said that, our customer, especially when it comes to synergies, they are looking for luxurious experience. This is where me and my team are very passionate by utilizing our local ingredient or local production or produce, where BoomGrow provide us a consistent local product and also good quality produce. Yeah.
So let's perhaps have a focus on the dishes which are actually already plated in front of us. And perhaps, Chef Azizi, you could tell us about the more colorful one right in front of you.
This is also a new opportunity for me to develop a new dishes by using our local produce. So as you can see in front, we have a garden salad where we utilize a BoomGrow salad into our dish. You can see it's very green, it's very leafy, it's very fresh. So all these items actually grow naturally in Malaysia, which is we support our local community, and also Marriott and Synergies as a company are really concerned about sustainability. And the second one, we're using a BoomGrow mushroom, and we create as a vegetarian PTV, and we pair with our garden salad, and also, as mentioned, ulam raja. Instead of a normal velouté or normal sauce, we use ulam raja as a sauce for this PTV dish.
Amazing. I think it looks absolutely appetizing. That's number one. And I think it also fits in a lot with not only sustainability goals, but of late, of course, there has been a much sharper focus on the health and well-being of Malaysians, and also actually making leafy greens, making more options that are more diverse for dietary and nutrition, more affordable for Malaysians. So speaking about that, Dr. Jay, let's go back into me asking you a little bit about your background and what drew you into the agri-tech sector.
I've spent many years prior to BoomGrow in ESG advisory.
Right,
so
okay.
When you work in data, you realize that disconnect between policies, frameworks with actual impact. And that is where I got into, I have a PhD in standards of sustainability. So many years of looking at climate change data, disclosure for the largest companies across Southeast Asia. But with BoomGrow, the difference is taking that impact and making sure that whole, how do we use technology and integrate it to make that difference? That's one. But my key message in terms of careers unusual in a way, where I've come to BoomGrow today, is that this transition needs to happen for all of us in terms of our careers, where we need to start looking at a sustainability lens, impact of our jobs with the world. And number two, how are we using data towards making bigger, better, bolder decisions? So these were the, I would say, the connecting dots that enabled me to get to BoomGrow where it is today and build this amazing company, because we have biologists, plant scientists, engineers who all need to talk together. And it's an exciting time to be in AgriTech and to do what I do.
Absolutely, especially given now there's such a sharp focus on, of course, all things ESG, something which was much more in the academic and perhaps a think tank, and, you know, that side of the market has now translated into an everyday event that you can probably run across in a shopping mall. So tell me though, Dr. Jay, is it possible for Malaysia's agri-tech sector, as it's developing today, to balance the adoption of advanced technologies? You're having AI, IoT, but also ensuring that our traditional farming knowledge is preserved?
That's actually fundamental. And the way to really look at it is to look at it as a complementary. Number one, it's complementary.
Right.
What grows traditionally we may not be able to grow. For example, we can't grow paddy or wheat in our systems. So, but how we currently grow certain crops needs to get better. And that's where technology will make that difference in terms of introducing IoT, sensors to traditional crops. But where technology producers like us make a difference is in the judicious sharing. Co-sharing and co-innovation would be key towards building that pipeline of innovation in this country, because we have, for example, we have a farm operating system that's been developed, and that's part of our, you know, why we are able to ensure consistency, traceability. And it is this kind of systems that can enable us not just to track, but also start managing existing traditional understanding of farming, because a lot of this is not codified. You know, it's not...
it's passed on by word of mouth.
Yes, yes.
It's an oral tradition.
Yeah. So not just codify, but also transfer that knowledge, and it becomes more diversified and become better. Right? I always say technology makes us bigger, better, bolder decisions in agriculture, and that needs to happen.
And do you perhaps foresee, from the work which has been happening in AgriTech, Dr. Jay, perhaps leveraging technology to revitalize traditional practices, which over time, due to the commercialization of farming, have also sort of faded to the background, especially in a really vibrant agricultural culture like Malaysia's?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even in terms of herbs, we always have this thing that we need to eat more vegetables, more herbs, and our grandmothers tell us this. But number one, we forget. Number two, we eat less of it. Number three, the fact that it is now more consistently available makes a company like Marriott want to get this produce. So we are, in a way, path-breaking that market, because previously large organizations, F&B purchasers, what they want and the market couldn't provide is consistency. Right? So consistency, scalability will be fundamental for us to really look at traditional understanding of produce herbs and taking it to the market, because you do need to have economic value, tie that social and environmental impact to an economic engine, then you have scale and sustainability.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think when you have economic value tied in, it makes it a non-negotiable. And then so many others take on what the early adopters like Marriott, Bonvoy, St. Regis have done. Chef Azizi, that brings me to really wanting to ask you a little bit more about looking at the environmental benefits of precision farming, such as what's produced by BoomGrow. Tell us about how that fits in with the broader sustainability that you're also working on avidly as a group.
Yeah, as a group, again, as mentioned, whatever we see from the farm or from the tray, we utilize 100% all the leaf, all the vegetable from the BoomGrow. This is where, in line with our sustainability program. So having a BoomGrow as a partner is the right decision, where we support a local and we work on our sustainability program as well. So this can reduce imported item where it can cost us more travel and pollution as well. So it's very important to utilize what we have in the local market. Yeah.
And what kind of a response have you had insofar from guests and people who've been able to try, and perhaps even those who have noted the difference between what is available now versus what they used to consume before?
Yeah, surprisingly, people are more open in terms of accepting a local producer. This is where the feedback is coming from. Every guest, they are mentioned, even me as a customer, the leaf or even the vegetable taste more better than imported item, because you can taste after all the leaf, all the vegetable are more peppery, more strong in terms of flavor. This is a good thing about BoomGrow. This is why I choose BoomGrow. And now as a magnet, we are considered a partner in terms of all the leaf and all the vegetable. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think it's really a testament to the quality of the produce from BoomGrow.
And that goes back to hyperlocal, because we are so close to where the customer is.
Right.
And cutting down that food miles means we arrive at the height of freshness.
And you're also able to then take that feedback, you know, the constructive feedback that goes into perhaps the future batches that are produced by BoomGrow. Right. From there, Dr. Jay, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on looking at the type of strategies and approaches which perhaps we need at a wider policy level to encourage more young people, or perhaps even those who are looking to pivot into a different career, or even those who are in their retirement age, to encourage careers in the agri-tech sector. What are the opportunities?
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities. There's a growing industry. I think the whole agriculture industry needs a rebrand. It's quite an unsexy business in the sense that young people want to be engineers, or they want to go into finance, or they go into legal fields. So we need the biologists, we need the plant scientists, we need agronomists. We have them. They are coming in, but we need more, and that's not enough. And we also need young people with this kind of backgrounds who are very adept at data. So that's key. Anyone, we have now currently when we hire engineers, we also want them to be not just use data, but use that data to give us insight. So as the industry grows, careers in agri-tech is going to be even more exciting. So that whole career pathway is becoming more distinct. So even a finance professional will be able to look at financing agri in a very, very distinct way. So lots of opportunities for young people. But number one, it needs to start at a policy level in terms of branding the industry. So we have more young people, more exciting opportunities are in store with the integration of technology for sure.
For example, I mean, that just talking about branding makes me think about how these days, perhaps not in Malaysia in so much, but especially when you look at digital creators in China, for example, those working in the agri-tech sector, they have immensely popular, huge accounts that actually document the steps of how they go about it. Something to chew on, perhaps. And let's spend a minute or two about how you feel maybe internships, early career experiences could fill that gap while policy, you know, catches up, so that we are still ensuring a steady supply of agri-tech young professionals.
Yeah. Internships are a great way to have a step into the industry. I myself don't have an agri background. So it is really, what we really want is a curious mind, ability to grow and learn, because internships open you to a whole new playbook. We are building the global playbook, agri-tech players. So when you come in as an intern, you don't just get exposed to an area that you're used to, whether it's plant biologics or it is AI. You are merging and building and seeing the integration of those deep domain knowledge. So that's amazing for a young person to really have a feel of the industry and see the growth and progress that they can achieve. So yes, we welcome internships all the time. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so very much, Dr. Jay Desan, as well as Chef Azizi, and also to your team for the incredible effort in plating up something so beautiful, so that we could just show off not just what BoomGrow grows, but what you serve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for today on NIAGA Spotlight with me, Tavina Kausji. We'll be back, of course, next week with more business and economic analysis and insights. Here's to a productive week ahead.